I'm in the speaking business, and I can tell you that not only is it rare for somebody to come up and make a lot of noise, but to stage one of the most exciting events in our area and then become the media darling. Everybody notices when this happens. So we're very proud to present Tel Rotary today. He's the managing director of Kyyba Accelerator and the chairman of Kyyba Incorporated. Tel is a serial entrepreneur, that's serial with an S. He's a business leader, an investor, a mentor, a philanthropist, obviously a speaker, a blogger, and also a movie producer, ladies and gentlemen. He's currently the president of the Indus Entrepreneurs Thai Detroit chapter, which fosters entrepreneurship globally. He's the board member of James and Patricia Anderson Engineering Ventures Institute, advisory board member for the National Veteran Business Development Council, Ann Arbor Spark, and ASTIA to propel women's full participation in fueling innovation and driving economic growth. He served as the past VP of American Society of Engineers of Indian origin. He's received several awards, including for excellence and honors such as the Diversity Business Leader, the Ernst & Young Entrepreneur of the Year, Outstanding Young Asian American of Michigan, Special Tribute for Excellence, Michigan State Senate, Outstanding Service and Contribution Award, on and on. He's been the subject of many feature articles over the years in magazines and newspapers around the world. Highly sought after for his business knowledge and expertise, Tel can be seen regularly on television, headlining speaking engagements, and hosting seminars and conferences. Ladies and gentlemen, it's my pleasure to introduce Tel Rotary.
Thank you, Michael. Thank you. Thank you. Good afternoon. Where is the energy? You guys were fed with 2 chicken, that barbecue. Good afternoon. Oh, a lot better. That's a real Rotary welcome. Thank you, Michael. Thank you, Renee. I'm glad to be here. I just want to share a few things with you. First, talk about my journey a little bit. And second, what is the recipe for my success? And third, how do we move Detroit and Michigan forward? And lastly, giving back, which is also one of the core principles of Rotary. Am I right? So, passion for cars brought me to Detroit. Otherwise, there is no reason for me to come all the way from India to here. Joined Chrysler, worked there for about 13 years. And then I soon realized that my DNA, which is really entrepreneurship, was not conducive to be at a larger corporation like Chrysler. So I left Chrysler. Even though I had the golden cuff, I have the lease cars and all that, free cars, but I chose to leave Chrysler. And my parents were very nervous. I come from a very middle-class background, so their American dream is really working at Chrysler and having a car, having a $100,000 job. And then when I said I'm leaving this job and I'm going to start from zero, so they were nuts. And so, are you insane, son? What's happening? So I left, and then rest is history. So from nothing, literally nothing, tapping into home equity line, credit card, all the way from that. Now I was able to create the company to about $50 million as of last year, 55 plus. Then I got bored. So I started 3 new companies last year. One is Kyyba Innovations, which is the Kyyba Accelerator, Kyyba Ventures. As if those are not enough, I started getting into movie business. So I started Kyyba Films. We are producing a full-feature Hollywood film. So that's what is happening on my journey. And so as an entrepreneur, you get bored very easily, So you got to fuel your passion. And being in a country like this, you talked about how great America is. This is a land of immigrants. And this is the land of opportunities. And this is the land of dreams. And so my goal is how do I pursue those dreams? And where my edges are. I don't know where the edges, how far I can go, I don't know that. So I'm in the quest of the journey to figure out how far can I go. Is it 500 million's my limit? Is it $1 billion? I don't know. But my goal is to keep on going until I find the limit. And then Walt Disney, I really like his quote, which is really what I do. I like to do things that are impossible because that's what gives me fun. Because after a while, it's not the money. How much money can you get? And even if you get them, what are you going to do with the money, right? You're still going to sleep in one bed, I hope. I mean, and then after you get money, we try to eat less. Believe it or not, when I didn't have money, I wanted to eat more. I wanted to get all kind of fancy chocolates and all that, but now I have everything. I don't want to touch any one of them. I'm eating salad. That is the irony of life. When you need money, you don't have money. When you have money, you don't want money. So the point I'm trying to make is that after a while, it is really those purpose in life is what drives you. And that's what keeps me going every single day. And then what is my recipe for success? I have 5 things I wanted to share with you. Number 1 is happiness. Happiness is very important to me because if you keep asking the question 5 times, why do you do this? Why do you want to go to school? Why do you want to have a girlfriend, boyfriend? Why do you want to get a job? Why do you want to get married? Why do you want to have children? If you keep asking those questions, why, you will end up with happiness. No wonder the founders of this great nation has declared as one of the principles of the Declaration of Independence. After life, liberty, and pursuit of happiness. All I wanted to tell you, but don't keep pursuing, be happy. That's all I'm trying to say, because if you keep pursuing, your life will be gone. So be happy, and that translates into everything, whether it is personal life or in business. So one of the things that I have in my entrepreneurial journey is really to make sure that I surround myself with happy people, because happy people are more productive. Because you can only inspire people so much, right? You can't tell them, okay, you got to get up at 5 o'clock in the morning, you got to take the car, and you can't be doing that all day long because it's counterproductive. But if they're happy and excited, half the battle is gone. So only condition I have for employment that the Department of Labor will not have a complaint for discrimination is that I don't hire negative Nancys. I don't want to be around negative Nancys, right? So that's really number 1. Number 2, I'm extremely passionate. I'm extremely curious. I'm also intense and sometimes obsessed. I hope nobody calls me OCDs or anything, but that's really what keeps me going. Because in order to do great things, you got to love what you do, and you have to be curious. Anything that you see, you got to be curious, because without curiosity, you cannot do a lot of things. Otherwise, life will be boring. I'll be curious talking to the cab because he tells me a lot of information that Google will not tell me, any other experience. So you suck as much as you can, even from a cab driver. So I always remain curious. I observe. I mean, talk to Michael. He's a great speaker. I don't think I'm a great speaker, so I watch whatever he's doing. And I take, because that's curiosity. And then intensity, because if you have those 2 elements and do nothing, you're not going anywhere. Because successful people spend a lot of time. They spend a lot of energy. And if you're competing with them, and you only do 4 hours, 5 hours, and not do much, you're not going to be successful. That's the key. Many people think successful people we spend a lot of time. 60, 70 hours. I don't need to do that, but that's what keeps us going. But so if you wanted to be in this business, if you want to be an entrepreneur, want to be successful, you got to put more time than what the rest of the people are doing. And then, like I said, those are the elements that I follow. And the third thing is really treating people well. Treating people well, respecting people well, and appreciating people well are the most important, because entrepreneurship is a people business. It's all about people. I can only do so much, right? And so just because I'm an entrepreneur, I can't disrespect people. So recently I went to India. I was on a trip. I'm just giving this example to show how people are so, just because somebody is serving food, somebody is a server at a restaurant, you don't treat them differently. They're all human beings. End of the day, whether you are a Bill Gates or Steve Jobs, all of us go under the ground. I've never seen anybody after dying hanging up in the air. If you find somebody, let me know. So when that being the case, for the limited time that we are on planet Earth, why the hell are we getting into all this mess and then torture ourselves and not being happy. So treat everybody equally and treat everybody well, and your life will be good. And that's what I do. So, and then I also appreciate people. So that is not, respecting is the first element. And the second thing is really appreciation. So in the world that we live in, we have 8 billion people, of which 2 billion people go to bed every day without food. They're hungry. And 4 billion people on planet Earth go to bed looking for appreciation. 50% of the people in the world need appreciation. And it makes more sense to appreciate people, right? And so the remaining 2 billion people, they are fed well, they don't need appreciated well. God bless them. But the 50% needs that, so it's very important to appreciate every little thing that any employee does. And because they are really helping you in your journey, and trying to put them down is not a good business. So which leads me to the next point, where even if you look at all the practices that we have, the human resources practices, it's all outdated. And that needs a disruption. What I mean by that is that as a society, even at major corporations, we tend to focus on people's weaknesses. And that is bad business. So let's say, for example, somebody have a weakness, say, for example, whatever you wanted to come up with, they're not coming to work properly on time, and you keep focusing on it all the time, and stats tell us that you're going to get only 1% improvement out of them. But if you focus on their strength, whatever that is, it skyrockets everything. Because you cannot ask a fish to fly. It's like that. That's what we are doing. So similarly, we cannot ask people, and we cannot change people's personality. Those are all hardcore, right? They're all set like a concrete. You cannot change them. But yet companies and managers, year after year, month after year, they keep doing the same thing and trying to improve upon people, and they cannot. I mean, you cannot take a football player and put them into basketball. They cannot win a game, but in the people business, people to do that. And so what we try to do, or I try to do within my companies, is that really focus on the strength of the people, because that's really what you're going to make an improvement. And so my HR practices are very, very different. I don't follow what the rest of the people do. I work on people's strength, and that's really what gets the results. So these are some of the principles. And the last one, to do all these things, you need energy. It's not the time. Many people say, I need time. No, even if you have time, you don't have energy. If you're low energy, you cannot do a damn thing. How will you do it? So you need high levels of energy to do anything. It's really energy that is more important. So how do you keep your energy? At least from my standpoint, I do yoga. I work out every single day. And then I also meditate. I think we talked about yoga and meditation. To me, that's what keeps me going. Because what happens is that you got to have a physical energy, you got to have a mental energy, and you got to have a spiritual energy. If you don't have those energies in place, you cannot do amazing things. Yeah, you can do like this, watch, lay on the couch and watch. I mean, nothing wrong with that. Don't get me wrong. I'm here to share how to be extremely successful. That's really what I'm talking about. If you wanted to do that, these are some of the things that I do. And then, of course, I travel a lot to a lot of different places. And believe it or not, most of the ideas that I get are not when I sit in my office, because rarely I get ideas sitting in my office. It's really when I travel. I don't know why. Maybe I'm so constrained in my office. I don't know. Maybe the people are not nice. I don't know, but they are nice. But I think when I travel, it really opens up to new people, new culture, new thoughts, the openness. Somehow it sparks ideas. And all the ideas that I come up with is really my interaction with so many people over the years. Not what I did when I went to school at U of M or Wayne State, or reading from the internet. It's really the interaction of people. So that's really what I do. It's really, I learn most of the things from the people that I interact with. And that's where the real knowledge is. So my success is really the collective intelligence of all of them I interacted with. It's really not what I have, not what I got out of the school. Because there are a lot more people smarter than I, intellectually. They went to top schools better than I, but still they're not able to do a lot of things because life is not just going to school. There are a lot of elements. So now I want to come back to what am I doing with all this thing? So one of the things I'm focusing on is how to move Detroit forward and Michigan forward. And I host the conference. We talked about the TICON. John was gracious and could talk about a lot of stuff. So I hold the largest entrepreneurial conference in Michigan. I've been doing that, and we focus on really high-tech and cutting-edge technologies to really put Michigan on the map. Why should we do that? Because this place was the center of innovation 100 years ago. There was no Silicon Valley. We were the first one to put the road, the Woodward Avenue. Before the world had any kind of transportation, we put the cars on the road. 50 years later, whatever, I don't know what happened, we lost the mojo. We became complacent, we became lazy, and sometimes we became stupid. And now we are begging for a lot of things. Of course, now things are changing. What I'm trying to say is that we already have that spirit within us. It's just to rekindle them and reset them and restart them is really what is happening. So now the city is really coming back. A lot of cool things are happening in the last 5-6 years. The food scene is amazing. The culture is amazing. The night scene is amazing. Entertainment is amazing. So my part is really how do I help the thing going forward in terms of the technology is really what I'm focusing on. So one of the things I'm doing is called a pitch club that we started 4 or 5 months ago. John talked about it. So my idea is that collectively we have all the assets within our place, but they're all operating in silos. People in Ann Arbor, they don't want to talk to people in Detroit. People in Detroit, they don't want to talk to people in Ann Arbor. And Lansing, they have completely disconnected. And Grand Rapids, I mean, literally and figuratively. and the people in Grand Rapids, so what we did is, so in first year, we said we'll connect all those 4 cities. We'll hold all events in two times a year in every city and bring the entrepreneurs, bring the ecosystem, the service providers, and put them all together. In 2019, we are also going to Marquette, so we connect the UP and all the way. So once you connect them, we become extremely powerful. So we are in a very different economy. It's more about collaboration. Sitting here, we can't compete with Silicon Valley if you are disconnected. So whether it is family, whether it is business, it's really how do we put together what we already have? Why are we chasing things that we don't have? And I think we should be focusing on what we have. So that is the concept on the pitch club. And the second thing we have launched is called Detroit FinTech Challenge. If you ask the question, besides automotive, besides medical devices, what is Detroit known for? People have difficulty to tell the third thing. And so my hope is to create a financial technology community in Detroit. So what we are doing is that we are bringing companies, the banks, the insurance companies, the investment companies, all of them together and come up with their problems. And we are also bringing the entrepreneurs, the developers, all of them together and come up with a challenge that is happening in April. So the idea is to, obviously we cannot become the Wall Street here, but I think there are opportunities besides New York for these kind of areas, and then we really need to diversify our economy, and that's what we are working on. So I'm also working on another challenge called IoT, Internet of Things, that's coming up also later this year. I already host a mobility challenge. So mobility, IoT, FinTech, and health are some of the challenges that we are hosting throughout the year, and the idea is to really spur the entrepreneurial activity, not just talking, but actually doing. Because what's happening in our state is that we hold a lot of business plan competition. We do a lot of theoretical stuff, a lot of academic. That doesn't do any good. So what we are trying to do, instead of complaining, we said we're going to take action and we're going to do it and people will follow. So those are the things that we are doing in terms of moving Detroit forward and Michigan forward. And hopefully we'll be able to connect all the cities, all the ecosystems, and different technologies that really put us on the map. And the last item I want to talk about is giving back. Why giving back is so important? I think I already talked about, you could have all kinds of money, you still can eat only one time, one meal a day, one meal a time, And even if you have all the money, you're not going to take them with you. So I think, when people are blessed, like this country, this place, all of us are here are blessed in many ways. I think we should consider giving back. When I say giving back, I'm not asking you to give away your family. I'm not asking you to give away your car or home or anything like that. If you have time, if you have money, please do give money and whatever causes that you wanted to do. If you don't have that, at least give your time. You can mentor people. That itself is giving back. And I think collectively, I think we can make an impact. So I'm going to share a few things that I'm doing as part of my giving back. I give back to two places. The place where I was born, that is India, and also in our own backyard, Detroit, which really created what I am. Because I went to the schools here, I used the public systems, I wanted to give back. So one other thing I'm focusing is on Detroit. I don't know how many of you know the stats or not, but Detroit has the highest illiteracy rate in this country, probably anywhere in the world. I mean, not anywhere in the world, but at least for a country that is so superpower like US, we cannot afford to have 48% illiteracy rate right here in our own backyard. It's much worse than India. I used to call India as a third world country, but I'm going to call Detroit as a fifth world country. It is how bad that is. And that's one, and then with the crime, it really compounds the problem. Right? Unless that problem is solved, no matter what we do, it's all window dressing. It's just not going to change that. It caught into a vicious cycle. We need to break that cycle. And the second stat I want to share with you is that 75% of the kids are with a single parent. And so they don't have a mentor in their life. And so even in the US, any city that you go, in order to design the prison system, they look at, by age 3 or 4, how many people can read and write. And so not able to read at age 3, 4 is a strong predictor whether that person is going to be on the right side of the law or the wrong side of the law. So what are we doing? We are helping, we are tutoring kids to read. So there's a program called TutorMate. So some of my team members, employees are connected, and then they go to some of the schools there and then help them to read and be a mentor. Most of the time through virtually. Once a year, they go and meet them in person. So two things, helping somebody to read and have a role model in their life. It changes their life, and it changes our city. It reduces the crime rate. This is not rocket science. This doesn't require billions of dollars. And we cannot afford to have, and then the crime rate also, so in order for us to do good, we have to do good, and that's really what we are doing. And then the other thing is that, and in terms of the entrepreneurship, we also focus on kids, grade 9, 10, 11, and 12. And so if they're not, going through the education program, but we still can help them become an entrepreneur. Doesn't need to be high tech. It could be retail businesses, it could be gas stations, and so on and so forth. So that's my way of giving back. And so all I would like to say is that before we go into Q&A is we have one life. Our life is very limited. It's a short life before you know it's over. And I think leading life with purpose is a wonderful thing to do. Your heart will thank you, and your soul will thank you. Thank you very much.